Haha, yay. Okay, well, hello, everybody. I see a name or two that I recognize, cool. Yep, we've been doing these for 3 weeks. We did just kind of an intro to Squarespace for week 1. And then last week we talked about blogging on Squarespace. And this week we're gonna talk about e-commerce with Squarespace, building an online store, how that works, how to build the store, how to add products, and then all of the commerce tools that you can use within Squarespace. We're going to be using the same website. At the end of the lesson, I will drop the website URL and the password for it into the chat. Forgot the name, into the chat, in case you haven't been here before, haven't had the link, all that good stuff. But Dwayne will also send it out in the follow-up email after this class, along with a YouTube link to rewatch this as well. So if you're a note taker, feel free to take notes, but you can also just kind of kick back, watch, take it all in, and then revisit this webinar through the YouTube video, or just be able to come back and check out the link. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you have questions throughout this, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I see the little chat box come up, so I'll try and answer them as I go, or at the very least, we'll have time for some Q&A at the end, so we'll be able to go over some things then too. Okay. Sharing, yay. Okay, so diving back into Squarespace goodness. I know some folks are familiar with Squarespace. Maybe you've never been on Squarespace before. If you are new to Squarespace and you weren't around for week 1, you can go to our website, which is just abtechworkshop.squarespace.com. And that will bring you to this website. There's lots of links, lots of goodies in here. And if you go over to the basics, we talk about Squarespace structure, the basics of building out Squarespace, and then the basics of styling your website. So you'll find all of those there. Our blogging class last week, you can find everything we did there throughout this website. There's me. You'll also find a lot of helpful links, and we're definitely going to be linking to things today. Scroll down, actually, it might not be on this page, but we will definitely be talking about the links today. I've linked so much stuff because there's so much to commerce on Squarespace. And so again, don't hesitate to come back to this website and use all the links to go watch more how-to videos, links to helpful articles that walk you through things step by step, etc. So for those who haven't been able to come to the last 2 classes, I'm Renee. I am the founder of Hart and Soul Co., which is a Squarespace, or my Squarespace design company. I work with small businesses to develop Squarespace websites that are easy to use, but also feel beautiful, authentic, and professional. I'm a Nashville native. Dogs, plants, sweaters, and Cosmo Gronies. That's a drink that you will find at Elder, which is the new restaurant behind the Grove Park. Highly recommend. And then, as I say before every class, it's going to go fast. We're going to have time for Q&A, and I've linked a lot of ways to keep learning throughout this as well. So without further ado, we are going to go into the store. So that is what we're going to be talking about today, Squarespace and having an online store. So I have built out, if you were with me last week, you know that I'm deeply obsessed with fall. I am ready for it to be fall. My sweaters are ready to come out of hibernation. The cooler weather is calling to me, et cetera, et cetera. All of the basic reasons that people love fall with the pumpkins and the candles. I am incredibly basic when it comes to autumn. So last week's blog was also fall themed. This store is also fall themed. So bear with me on that. So we're going to go through all of these products and all of this good stuff here, which are just a few examples that I've built out. So as we dive in, why e-commerce and having an online store are synonymous. So if someone talks about e-commerce or someone says something about their online store, talking about the same thing. So e-commerce can be helpful because, of course, you can sell your products and services online. And that is helpful, obviously, for a variety of reasons. One of which is being able to reach a wider audience. So when you have a brick and mortar store, you're kind of tapped to the local community, which Asheville has an incredible abundance of. But whenever you also sell your goods online, you can reach more people, sell to more people, and generate more income, which, as much as we love what we do, that is kind of, sort of, eventually the goal. And then, of course, e-commerce, automating your income. So that's just nice because you don't have to get in touch with someone and then they get in touch with you because they want to buy something, and then you get back in touch with them to get the information that you need, and then you figure out how to get them to pay you, and then you figure out if you need to ship something, or etc. So instead, people can go online, find what they want, order it, pay for it, and you didn't even have to be part of that process. So building your online store is your part of the process, and then from there, it's, aside from marketing, of course, kind of runs itself, which is ideal. And then why Squarespace for your e-commerce? Because you have probably heard of other platforms. We've got WordPress, we've got Shopify. Shopify is a big one for e-commerce. Shopify is a great platform for e-commerce, especially if you're going to be selling lots and lots and lots of inventory. If you're going to have some like crossover in your inventory with a brick and mortar store and selling online, and you need to keep track of all of that. So sometimes Shopify can be helpful for more complex e-commerce sites, but Squarespace is excellent for e-commerce. They've really leveled up in the last few years, if only to keep up with Shopify and other platforms. But I love Squarespace e-commerce because it's a one-stop shop. If you've got your website on here, you might have a blog on here, maybe you use the scheduler on here. That might be a class down the line, how to use the scheduler in Squarespace. But being able to have that and have your online store, your inventory, your orders, there's ways for you to keep track of your taxes and your accounting. So it's a one-stop shop for pretty much everything you need. It's easy to add various types of products, whether you've got physical products that you have to ship, or maybe you're just wanting people to pay for services that you provide them, or maybe you're creating digital elements, PDFs, ebooks, audio, things like that. And then, of course, Squarespace has a lot of extra commerce tools, both built into Squarespace, which if you've been with me for the last couple of weeks, you've heard me say before that Squarespace has a lot of things just built into their system. So you don't have to do as many plugins, you don't have to code in anything weird. So they have a lot of tools that are already built in that you don't even have to think about. But then they also have ways to connect, easily connect, like frequently used extensions, connecting UPS, connecting shipping, connecting other things that help you calculate taxes and things like that. And they make that really easy to connect with them as well. So big fan, but of course, at this point, you guys know I'm a little biased. So today's lesson, we are going to talk about creating a store page. We're not going to go super in depth into the basics of Squarespace and building out a Squarespace page or a Squarespace section or adding things like this. We talked about that in week 1. And today we really want to focus on getting you guys up and running, or at least familiar with the tools that Squarespace provides for e-commerce. So we're going to talk about creating your store page, adding and editing products to the store, whether they're products or services. And then we're going to go over all of the Squarespace commerce tools. So Squarespace has a whole tab for this that we're going to go into, and I'm going to show you the basics of all of the tools that you have access to if you use a Squarespace for your online store. And in that vein, there are so many goodies to discover and use in Squarespace commerce. All of the lessons so far really have been an overview because, of course, there's dozens of ways to deep dive into various elements of Squarespace. But today, especially, I have linked lots and lots of articles. Squarespace support, if you were with me during week 1, the support that Squarespace provides is like one of the #1 reasons I love them so much, because there are just a gazillion ways for you to learn, to teach yourself. I taught myself how to use Squarespace just by going through their help articles and using the community forum. And so there's a lot of ways to keep learning with Squarespace. So I've linked a ton of them, since I know that commerce is complex and there's lots of pieces to it, and there's probably lots that you're going to want to learn afterwards. So lots of links. Again, we're going to share the A/B tech workshop.squarespace.com with you guys. It has a password on it that I'll share with you as well. So you'll be able to come to this website, log in using the password, and visit all of this, click on all the links, all that stuff after we're done today. Starting with this one right here. So this right here, whenever you come back to this website, if you come back to this section, this right here, e-commerce with Squarespace and overview. So if you click on that, this is just one of the many, many articles where Squarespace has kind of walked you through getting started with Squarespace commerce. They've got all kinds of different links, all kinds of stuff like that. And then I think down at the bottom, they have links to their FAQ, the Squarespace forum, and commerce video series. So again, lots of ways to continue learning after today as well. All right, so we are just going to dive right in. Again, if you have questions as we go, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll try to answer them as I see them. And then we'll have some time at the end for questions as well. So creating a store page, one of the easier ways to do this, especially if you haven't actually started a Squarespace website yet, is to just start with a Squarespace commerce template. I've linked them here. So if you click on that, you see right here that whenever you're in Squarespace, if you go to squarespace.com and click on get started, they will take you to their list of templates. And the very first one that you can check off is templates that support an online store. So that means that they've already built a store into a website. So you can go through and browse these. You can preview them, see what they look like on different devices up here, on tablets and on phones, and how they operate. So, and then you can save them if you like them, you can favorite them and then go through them later. And then whenever you're ready, you would just start with it, and then the store would be in there, and you'd go in, swap out those products with your own products, those photos with your own photos, all that good stuff. We're really big on templates here. Again, if you're just joining one of these classes for the first time, these classes are really geared towards being able to DIY your website with in the easiest way possible. So we talk a lot about templates and a lot about being able to make things really easy for you when it comes to building out. Oh my. All right, A/B tech, Excuse-moi. All right. So we are going to go back to our store. Pardon that segue. If anyone was with me, one of my #1 rules is if you have a link that takes someone off your website, have it open in a new window. And I did not take my own advice here. I will fix that, don't worry. So to create a store page, you can start with a commerce template, which will already have a store page built into it. But if you have not, then I have these steps here for creating a store page. So without further ado, we are going to continue to look at our website like this, but I'm also going to take you into the back end of Squarespace. So this right here is the exact same page that we're on over here, but through the back end of Squarespace. So we are going to spend a lot of time in this tab right here, a little later in class. But right now, as we talk about adding your store page and adding products, whenever you are doing that, doing something that actually deals with your products, editing your products, adding photos, adding a new one, getting rid of an old one, anything like that. When you log into Squarespace, you're going to have your home menu, this home menu over here. On the left, you're going to go to your pages. And then this is where we can see our store is. But in talking about adding a store page, when you get to your home menu, we just clicked on pages. And then we're going to go over here. And then when you click on this plus button to add a new page, we have our page layouts that we've talked about before. Again, templates. So these are templates for pages that are built into Squarespace. However, when we are adding a store, we're going to click that plus button and go over here to store. So we would click on that. And then right here, it's asking me if I want to create a new category because it sees I already have a store on our website. But I'll create a new one just to show you how it looks. So we would click on create a new store. It gives you 2 options to choose between. The only real difference is that this template has a heading, space for a little intro, and then your items. whereas this one just has your items on it. That's really a personal preference. There's no best way to choose. It's more aesthetics and whether or not you want people to just be able to dive right in. So for this one, we'll just go ahead and choose this. And then it'll add your store down here. I always add new pages in the not linked section so that they don't accidentally show up at the top of my website before I'm ready. So I will label this one new store. And then voila. So when you add your store page, Squarespace is always going to have a few items in there already that you will, of course, end up deleting because these are not your items, unless they are, in which case these are cool. I like them. That's cute. So you can go through here and check these little boxes. You can check them all and then delete them and then create your new products. But in the essence of that, that is how you create a store page. So it's actually pretty easy. And they already have the infrastructure set up for you to easily add and edit all of your products. I'm gonna go back to our pages because we're gonna actually spend time here in this store. So the store I built out for this. So we've clicked on that. So this looks a little different than what we were just looking at. And that's because I have categorized the things that I've added, which I'll walk you through. That'll make sense in a minute. But I'll go here to all of our products up here. So now you can see that that looks the same. This was one of the products that was built into the store when I started it, when I added a store page to the website, which I deleted, and it says that right here. But just so you can see that as well. So these are our 3 products that I've added to our online store, which you can see here. Yay. Okay, and then store page formatting. So I have our store right here. And if you were with us last week in the blog class, when you add a blog or a store or pretty much anything, let me get back out of here. When you click this plus button, anything under this collections tab, like a blog or store, it will set up that basic piece of it. So the blog, it sets up the blog for you with the blog infrastructure. Our store was set up with the store infrastructure, but then you can add Squarespace sections above and below those as well. So when I first added this store page, this was the only section that was on this page. And then I added this heading section, and then I added all of these sections below it as well. So just as an FYI, you can build out that page however you like. It will just have your store section in it. So whenever you are ready to format this store page that you have started, we'll actually go back into this store over here. We're going to bounce between the 2 today as we talk about them. So here we have our new store. So if I wanted to edit how this store looked, since this is one I haven't added any extra sections to yet, I would just go up here to edit, like how you do whenever you're editing any other page in Squarespace. This edit button is always going to be in the upper left-hand corner of your preview screen. And when you click on it, it's going to open full screen. So that way you can see your edits, how they're going to look to other people, as other people are just landing on your store page online. So here, these options, the add section options. So this is where you can build out sections above and below your actual store section. But when I'm talking about formatting your store page, I'm talking specifically about formatting this section of it. So the actual section that deals with your items, that deals with your products, and that deals with how this overall section looks. So whenever you are ready to style that, you will click Edit Section, which you probably recognize from other sections on Squarespace. So that's going to be this right here. And then it's going to give you a variety of options and a variety of ways to mostly deal with the aesthetics of this particular section. So these things right here. So woo, see, so that's how you can determine how much white space is in between your products, how much white space is underneath and above your products. So you can just drag those until they look the way you want them to, or you can go in here and change this actual number if you want to. If you want to make that 4.5, we could. So that deals a lot with the padding, the same with full and instead. It just means they take up a little more space or a little less space on the screen. And then down here, you've got your columns. If you want to have more items in one row, it gives you up to 4. It won't let you go past 4 in a row because it doesn't want them to be too small or too hard to see, but you can go down to as few as 2. So again, personal preference, there's really no best tactic at that point. More of an aesthetics. As you may have noticed, if you've been with me over these last few weeks, I'm a big fan of 3 things in a row. I can't tell you why, I just am. You can change the size and orientation of the photos, the preview photos. All of these will be the same. There are, of course, ways to code if you want to, for things to be different, but all of your previews, your product previews, are going to have the same photo layout. And again, this is a preference thing, however you want them to look. And then the rest of these, text alignment, if you want this to be to the left, in the center, or the right, how much space you want between the image and the text. And then you actually even have the option to show and hide prices. And then once we add categories, you have the option for them to be at the top of your store, like you might have seen on our store over here. Right here, I have our categories listed at the top, but you also have the option to put them on the side as well. So they'll show up over here instead. And then the rest of these are just some things you can toggle on and off. We won't really be able to tell right now because we don't have a ton of products. So these are just things that you can play with that just kind of help you to determine how this section of your page is going to look. This will not affect any other sections that you add to your page. If you add sections above or below your store, these settings will only apply to the actual store. And if you click on manage items, managing items is just where you're going to actually deal with your products, which is what we're about to jump into next. Okay, so that's all there really is to creating a store page. Actually, adding it to your website isn't super tough. You can just start with a template that already has one, add one really easily from your pages menu. And once you do, then you just have some easy ways that you can format it, make it look how you want. Okay, so now we are going to dive into adding and editing products, which has a bit more meat to it. So I, again, have linked right here an overview to adding and editing your Squarespace products, adding products to a store. There is a video along with this as well. You can watch the full video, or you can also search by different kinds of products, which we are going to talk about right now, different product types. So Squarespace allows you to add 4 different kinds of products to an online store. Physical products, so these are things that you're going to ship, is essentially the best way to think about that. So description right here. Any of these, with the exception of gift cards, can be a subscription. Well, actually, digital products can't be a subscription, I don't think. It's a good question. See, we're all learning together. But I know for a fact that physical products and service products can be subscriptions. So if you've ever signed up for something like I signed up for BarkBox once, which is like where they send you the dog toys. We got a puppy a year ago. She's an absolute whack job. She's psychotic. So I got her lots and lots of puppy things, and I had a monthly box that came for that. So if that's something that works within the realm of what you're looking to sell, you can have subscriptions, which is pretty cool. So to our store that I have built out for this lesson, I have 1 physical product, a digital product, and a service product, just to walk you through a few of the nuances. But digital products can be super flexible: ebooks, audio files, videos, pretty much anything that lives online. If you've ever gotten a PDF or something that you paid $5 to download, a planner of some kind, that's a digital project. And then service products are classes, consultations, anything like that. You don't have to ship these, so you don't have to worry, of course, about shipping options. That's another element / layer to the physical products that you will have to deal with. But again, Squarespace has a lot of really good ways for you to set that up, and different extensions for you to connect with if they're helpful. So we are going to dive into the product editor. Similar to this button up here, all of these are linked. So there's more information on each of these sections, but we are going to go through all of these in quite a bit of detail. So heading back to our store. So this is the new store we just added. We made some changes. Let's say we like them. So we're going to click save. If we didn't like the changes that we made, we could click discard changes. It would ask us if we were sure, and then it would reset. But I like them, so I'm going to save them. All right. So we are going to go back into our pages tab so that I can get to our other store. You'll always be able to tell what's a store within your Squarespace pages because it's going to have this little cart icon next to it. Like the blog has the pen icon, and then all of your basic pages look like dog-eared pages. So we'll go to this store. So once I click on it, it's going to take me to the actual store page, which of course is a little more extensive than our other one. And then it's going to list all of my products over here on the left-hand side. I've categorized them. So if you categorize your products, which I recommend for the sake of organization, and we'll show you how to do, then it'll show you your list of categories, and then you can go through your products by categories, or you can look at them all at the same time. But anytime you click on your store, it will automatically go into your product list. So going into your product editor. So this is when you are ready to either edit a product that you already have, like if I wanted to edit one of these, or if you are ready to add a product. So we will go ahead and add a product so that you can see what that looks like. So whenever you are ready to do that, you've built your store, you've deleted all of the things that Squarespace automatically throws in there, all of the products that were already there. So you are ready to actually add your very first product. So I'm going to go ahead and use a physical product. So for anyone who's making art or anything else super cool that you can ship. So anytime you add a product, it is going to ask you which one or which kind of product it is. Again, your main ones are physical, digital, service, or gift cards. You also have the option down the line, and this is another totally different Squarespace lesson, but setting up memberships, if you want to have like members only content or things like that, or if you want to set up Squarespace scheduling, that's another quote unquote product you'd be able to have as well. So once you click on it, it is going to take you into the product editor. So this right here is where all of the information about your product is going to go in. So it's going to start with the basic details. And so that's what we're talking about here. So that's just your product name, your product description, and any additional information you want to be on that page about that product. So this product name, again, since everything that that's on my brain right now is autumn related. Let's say we want to do like an autumn. Oh, so if we want to have members only content, it must be set up through a store page. Correct. Actually, you can, there's a different portal for that. Please remind me at the end of class and I will show you where it is. Okay, so product name, product description. So since I am in the autumn zone, let's say I wanted to do, oh my goodness, like an autumn tea subscription. So I can show you how the subscription feature works. Subscription. Here are details about the tea. You'll get the types, how many packets, how many packets, etc. But we'll pretend that that's, delightfully stated and not what it actually is. Additional info, and I will actually pull up one of our products over here that I have already input. This is another physical product right here. So I'm going to click on it. Table setting bundle. Lots of these are showing up on the Pinterest. I, however, am not savvy enough to actually set tables. I'm actually really bad at decorating, weirdly enough. It just Doesn't occur to me. So I've clicked on our product, so it's going to take us into the product itself. So once you actually have a product set up, this is how it's going to look. So these are the details. This is where that title for the product shows up. And this is where the description that we typed in is going to show up. If you use this additional info, it's going to open up a totally different editor. When you're in this, you can either type in extra information if you have extra things that you want to say, but you don't want it to show up above the add to cart button, then you can type it all in here and all of this additional information will actually show up down here underneath the image and this first initial description. These, when you're in additional info, you can click these plus buttons and that gives you access to any / all of Squarespace's other building blocks. So you can make the bottom of the product look real fancy if you want to. So those are your basic details. Next, you're going to go into images. So you're going to add images of your product. If you've been with us the last couple of weeks, you know that usually you have a lot of options when it comes to adding images to Squarespace. When you click on this plus button, you have the option to upload a picture from your computer, to select a picture from your library, which is essentially a hub of every picture you've ever uploaded to your website. While you usually have a third option to add a stock photo, Squarespace will not let you do that when it comes to products because it doesn't want you using stock photos for products that you're supposedly trying to sell. Which I get, but is occasionally frustrating for me when I'm trying to find pictures. So the moral of that story is have all of your images either previously uploaded to your website or saved onto your computer, even if you are using stock images. I use stock images for all of these products right here. These are all stock photos that I took off of Unsplash. And I had to save them to my computer so that I could upload them. So for this product, what did we say? Tea. I did not save a picture of tea. So which one of these looks most tea-like? This one. We'll pretend it's quite clearly coffee, but maybe it's just really strong tea. Okay. So this is where you're going to essentially add all of your images. If you click these 3 buttons down here, these 3 buttons are related to what Squarespace calls your featured image. So the featured image is just going to be the very first picture that shows up on your store page. So these are the featured images. This one is of a table that looks really yummy right now. I'm very hungry. This one is of a planner, since this one is technically an autumn daily planner. And this one is of delightful fall table settings. So if you do not set a featured image, it's automatically going to take the first image that you upload and set it as your featured image. So if you want to swap that out with something else, then you can just go over here, delete this image, and upload another one. So you can add as many pictures as you want. You can see, again, over here, we'll go to the Autumn Daily Planner this time, that all of your pictures show up over here on this left-hand side. There is a way to change that. There are different ways to style your product page that I'm going to show you in a minute once we get our product added. But you can add as many images as you want. That was the moral of that story. Next, we dive into inventory, and we have got, again, more information linked on inventory down here. Adding and editing products, the product editors. You can find out more about that or more details on it down the line by clicking here. So inventory, this is where you are going to be listing the price of your product or service. This is kind of the same, no matter which one you're adding or which type of product you're adding. So this is where you're going to set a price. If you want it to say that it's going to be on sale, this is where you can set that. So you will set an original price. You can click on sale, and then you can click the sale price. If you want to have a product on there that you want to offer for free, like a free download or a free something, then you will just leave the price set at 0. And it will say free when it's on your store. So this is where you'll set the price, where you'll set the quantity, and this is also where you can add what Squarespace calls variants. So let's say our tea subscription, we're gonna do it monthly. Asheville Tea Company actually does do that, by the way. If you do like tea and you think a tea subscription sounds good, Asheville Tea Company is excellent. But let's say the price of our monthly tea is going to be $30. Does that sound reasonable? Yeah, let's just go with that. So it's going to be 30 bucks a month. So we're going to set it right here. It's not on sale. It's just 30 bucks. Let's say I have 10 of those. 10 people can buy that. You can set as high or as low as you want. You can set an unlimited quantity. That automatically happens for digital assets. So if you have a downloadable PDF, Squarespace knows you're not going to run out of a downloadable PDF. So they usually have unlimited quality set for that too, but you still have the option to set it if you want it to be exclusive or if it's going to sell out, etc. So then with our variants, this is where the example that Squarespace gives, which is a good one, is a shirt that comes in multiple colors or sizes. So if this physical product was a type of shirt, it came in small, medium, and large, and it also came in blue, yellow, and red, this is where you'd be able to set that up, because maybe the red shirt, for whatever reason, costs more, or the small shirts cost less, or the, things like that. So this is where you can set up those particular kinds of variants. So if we had one, so we'll say we have 2 different kinds of tea boxes, let's say. So we're going to add one. It gives you the basic category, or not categories. I don't want you to get that confused. Options. It gives you basic options, but you can also type in whatever you'd like. So this is going to be like our type of tea box. So let's say we're going to have, for autumn, we're going to have like an apple themed one. And then we're going to have a pumpkin themed one. Cool. So I have added those types. It's basically showing me what's going to show up whenever people are choosing, whenever they're on my product page. This is going to come up. They're going to have to select a type. And so once I have my types in here, this is only one variant. You can add many more. Again, like the shirt, you might have the size and then add the sizes here, and then the color, and then add the colors there. So you can add as many variants as you'd like. But we just have the one. So I can click these 3 dots once I've added everything I need. And then, oh, whoops, just kidding. I'm actually going to click on these. We're going to save them. They're going to show up here. And then, so then I'm able to go into Apple. I can upload a specific image for that particular variation. So maybe I have a picture of all of my apple teas, and then I have a picture of all of my pumpkin teas. So this is where you can upload photos that are specific to each variation. And this is also where you can change the price. Maybe our pumpkin one is slightly more expensive just because I say so. So then that's 35. This is so far saving automatically. You will have to save your product as a whole, but as you're making these changes, these are being saved automatically. If there is not a button that says save after you make a change, that means that Squarespace is doing it automatically. Then we'll go back. If you need to edit any of these down the line, you can go here, click edit all, and then it'll take you back into this as well. Okay. Advanced shipping. Shipping is something that we're going to talk about when we talk about commerce tools, but know that if you have advanced shipping or automated or weight-based shipping rates, if you're not just shipping based on a flat rate or something like that, this is where you can set those up for all of those variants as well. So if the apple ones are heavier for some reason, maybe we ship actual apples with the apple tea, then you're going to want to add probably a higher shipping rate for that. I have lots of things linked for shipping. Shipping is a beast of its own that I have lots of resources for, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we just did our inventory. Again, our inventory is where you can change your prices, put things on sale, say how many units of each you have, set these variants, et cetera, et cetera. So that is where all of that will take place. The next thing we end up on is organization. So categories can be really helpful. Squarespace recommends that you only have one store in your website. As you might have noticed, when I added that second store, it was like, are you sure? And that is partially for ease of use, partially because then all of the information that it's going to aggregate when we talk about your commerce tools kind of stays organized as well, but also because most of the times you don't need two different stores, you can just use categories. So on this store, these are the categories that I have set. These are, of course, also the different kinds of products you can have. But I set these categories, so if I clicked on services, then it's only going to show me products that fall within the services category. Then I can go back to all of them. We can check out our physical products. Right now, that's just the table settings. So it makes it really easy for your site visitors to sort through your products as well. So if you're selling ceramics, you can have mugs, plates, bowls, even if you have digital downloads, maybe you have PDF guides, maybe you have some audio downloads that they can use. So you can have them split up into guides, audio, video. So you get the picture. So this is where you can add categories. So if you wanted to, we want to put this particular product into our physical products category because it is a physical product. But you also have the option to add a new one if you're starting a new category of products or services of any kind. So you can add as many categories as you'd like, but finding ones that most of your products are going to fall under is usually the most helpful. If you don't have a ton of products, if you're only going to be selling a few things, then that's not super necessary. But most of the time, categories help your visitors, and anything you can do to help your visitors is probably going to help you complete a sale. Tags are a little bit more casual, so you don't have to have the full, like, does this fall under this category? But this is also a way to help people search for your products. So tags could be like food or drink related, decor related, things like that. So things that you don't necessarily need a whole category for, but if someone's looking for decor, autumn decor, you know, well, this would actually be bad. No one really uses tea as a decoration. Actually, they do, you know, in the glass jars, it looks really pretty. But anyway, you get the picture. Tags can be a little bit more loosey-goosey. And again, just anything that's going to help people find what they're looking for when they land on your site. Tags, however, will not show up at the top of your website. So only categories will show up in your store. And tags will just be nestled underneath your actual products on the product page. Okay. So that's organization, talking about categories and tags. There's more information on that through this link. The next one is visibility. So visibility is mostly related to, well, where/how you want this particular product to come up in your site. So you have the option to set featured products. So if you know you have a bestseller, or if you know you have something that people always come to your website looking for, then you can turn on this featured product toggle. And then there are a variety of ways to add it throughout your website. Maybe you want your featured products to be on your home page. So you can use a summary block, one of the building blocks of Squarespace, to highlight only your featured products. And so then that just makes it really easy down the line as you have favorite products to go in and just turn this on or off. And then that will turn it on or off on whatever page you have your summary block on. Related products. This is an excellent option that I love. So related products will show up at the bottom of a product, especially if you have products it can be really helpful to have, okay, we have our fall table setting bundle. Here's the information. If we turn on related products, then down here at the bottom, it will say, you might also like ... And then based on your categories and your tags, Squarespace will organize those for you. It'll say, oh, Renee has that product listed under physical products, so we'll populate related products with other physical products. If I have tags on a product that match, it'll bring up other products with those same tags. So Squarespace will do that work for you. All you have to do is turn it on, which is something that we do in our Commerce Tools tab, and I'll show you where that is. And then product reviews, these are actually new. They just added these a couple months ago, I would say, but it gives the ability to show customer reviews directly on the product pages without you having to go in and add them in that like additional information, which is what we used to have to do. That's where we used to have to add reviews, but now they have it built in. Again, Squarespace is always attempting to level up and make life easier for you. So you can add product reviews directly to those product pages. Next, we move on to marketing. Go back to our store page and pull up our little accordion menu. So more information on visibility, those related products, those reviews. So next, our marketing tab. This is where you can input any SEO, which is search engine optimization, just helps you show up a little sooner or earlier in the Google when people are Googling things, or if you're selling, maybe someone says where to find local tea made in Asheville or something like that. So this is where you can maybe boost those ratings or show up a little higher on those pages. So you can add your own SEO. You can edit the URL for this product. So if we were to do that right now, the URL for this product is crazy. Look at that. It's just a whole bunch of numbers and letters. And so I would want this to be something much, much easier to search. So I would change this to Autumn Tea subscription. Did I spell that right? Subscription. Yes, I did. So this is where you can change your URL. I can enter an SEO title and it'll show you a little preview right here. And then a description down there as well, if I'd like to. If you don't, it's okay. Squarespace will, well, not Squarespace, Google or Yahoo or Bing or whatever search engine you use will generate one automatically. But now we can see that this is the URL. If someone wanted to look directly for this product, this is the URL they would use to get there. And now it makes a lot more sense. And then social share. So this is where, first of all, you get a preview of what this is going to look like if someone shares this particular product on their Facebook or their LinkedIn. You can edit that if you'd like. You can swap this picture out if you want to. But you can also right here where it says social accounts, connect your Instagram, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, Twitter, pretty much any social platform. And whenever you publish a new product or it goes live, it will go live to all of your social accounts without you having to actually go in and manually upload it to Instagram or manually upload it to Facebook. So just another way to kind of expedite that process if you wanted to. So those are your two options under marketing. And then the last thing that you have here in your product editor is how to customize the checkout. So all of that info is going to be right here as well. So this is where you can customize the button. So unless you customize it, most of the buttons are going to say add to cart. But you could turn this on and we could change this to subscribe, maybe, because this is a subscription to a monthly tea box. So I'm going to do that. So I will click apply. It'll tell you if it's on or not. It'll say enabled if it is. If we go into a couple of our other products, you will see that is not on. All of the other products I added as examples to the store just say add to cart. You have the option to add custom forms. So this can be helpful, especially if you have a service. Maybe you're offering hour-long consultations in your field of expertise, but you want some information from people before they sign up for one, or you want information from people when they sign up, so you know what you're talking to them about, or maybe what they're looking for. So if you click on this, then you have the option to create a new form, and then you can name it whatever you'd like. There will be a live preview of it over here, which can be helpful. So maybe when people subscribe to our T box, we want to ask them their name. And then maybe we want to ask them, let's see. We want to ask them, what is your favorite thing about autumn? Am I taking this too far? Are we sick of me yet? You can make any of these form fields required or not. If they are required, then it will not let them add this product to a cart until they answer it. So you can make them optional by leaving it blank, or you can check it and it'll put this little asterisk next to it, which means that people have to answer it to buy the product. I don't want to do that, so I'll just save it as it is. People have the option to fill that out if they would like. Again, it'll tell me if that is on or off. And then subscription down here is where we would turn this into a subscription. So I would click on that. This is a feature that is only available on advanced commerce plans. Squarespace has a business plan, a basic commerce plan, and an advanced commerce plan. And there are some differences and some features between the three of those. And certain features are only available on the commerce and the advanced commerce. I usually recommend starting with the regular basic commerce plan unless you are immediately in need of this particular or other particular features that only come on the advanced plan. Squarespace makes it very easy though to upgrade and downgrade your plan. And they prorate money that you've paid, things like that. So you can change that once you sign up, FYI. So we are going to repeat this once every month. And we can say, we'll say it never expires. You're just gonna pay every month until they cancel. But you can also say that it's going to expire after 3 times. Maybe this is a 3-month subscription and then they can re-up or they can not. So I can't actually add this. I would have to upgrade to do it because this is not, I haven't signed up for a Squarespace advanced commerce plan yet. But that's where you would edit your subscription details. Okay, so we have all of our information in here. We're going to pretend I have lots more pictures of tea. And then we are going to go up here to save. And this is where product settings. So up in this corner is where we have our product settings. So this is where we have the option to save our product, which means that all of this information that we've input will be saved, but it will not be published to our store. So this is good if you're adding a product, but you're not ready for it to go live. Maybe you need some more photos, maybe you need something else, or maybe you're just not ready to publish it yet. So you can save it and it would save as a draft. You can go ahead and publish it, which is what we're going to do here in a minute, or you can schedule it. So this is good for people who have like launches, like this new line is going to launch in August, or this new line is going to launch September 1st. And being able to schedule it means that you can just sit down, do all of this ahead of time, schedule it for September 1st, and then not have to worry about anything on September 1st, as opposed to sitting there on September 1st trying to publish your products as fast as you can, because that's not fun. So that's going to be up here in this upper right-hand corner, these 3 different options. We are going to publish in a minute, but then you also have this right here. So duplicate would literally duplicate absolutely everything that we just input. This is actually a great way to add new products. If you have a lot of products that are going to be similar, or a lot of settings that are going to be similar, you won't have to go in and add every single little thing. Like maybe you have other things where this inventory is the same, or things fall under the same category or whatnot. So you can just duplicate it, and then you can just change out the product name, a product description, swap out a few photos, and then just go ahead and publish another product. So that's one way they try and make it easy for you to add products to your store. You can, of course, delete any product that you have, and then this is just for leaving Squarespace feedback. So those are your product settings: saving and scheduling, duplicating or deleting, of course. I'm going to publish it. Squarespace is going to do its flashy thing that it does when new things happen. So there it is, our Autumn Tea subscription. Any new product you add is automatically going to get added to the very front of your store. We can change that by going to all and hovering over the left-hand side of our products, and then we can move them around just by dragging and dropping. So now you can see from top to bottom is how it goes from left to right. And you can also see that now, since we have two physical, well, again, I labeled this category as physical products. So you can see we now have 2 items in that category and 1 item in the other categories. So not much is different for the other categories for digital downloads. I would click on that. Anytime you want to edit your product, you will just find it, click on it, and then you can click edit up here and it will give you the option to edit the product itself or edit the design. So we're going to edit product and then I'll show you edit design. So by editing our product, this just takes you in. It looks exactly the same despite the fact that this is a digital product. It'll always tell you up here at the top, it will tell you the name of your product if you're editing one that already exists, and it will tell you what kind of product it is right below that. So down here for inventory, here was where I had to upload the actual PDF of this cute little autumn planner that I made on Canva very quickly. So it will ask you to upload a file if you have a digital product. It will not let you save your product, your digital product, unless you upload something. And it will only let you upload 1 file. So if you have, you're selling something that's a series maybe of recorded podcasts or recorded meditations or something like that, you can only upload 1 per product. So keep that in mind. So I uploaded the PDF right here, but then everything else is the same. It's $10. Digital products don't have variants. So that's actually one less thing you have to worry about with digital products. But otherwise, everything else is the same. Under visibility, you can also see that this is listed as a public product, which just means that this product is live. If we needed to make some changes or we're running out of stock or something like that for any of these products, you can click hidden and that will save it as a draft. Once again, it will take it out of your store, or you can schedule it to be posted at a later date if you'd like. So this is another way to tell what the status is of your product. Custom buttons, custom forms. So you can tell even within the variations of products, whether it's digital, physical product, or a service is somewhat similar. We'll go check that one out really quickly. Go back to my categories. I can just go to all of my products and look at them all at the same time. So my service product is seasonal party planning. So here we edit this product. Here I added a few variants. You can add variants to service products. We can see that at the top here. It's a service product. So different tiers of party planning, starting from pretty expensive and going down to somewhat less expensive. And so this is where I could set the price for that. I can say how many of these I'm willing to do per season or whatnot. But otherwise, everything else is the same as the physical product that we built just a little bit ago. And now we went up to edit. So we've been editing the product. That takes us into our product editor that we've just spent a lot of time in. However, if we click edit design, then this little box is going to come up over here on the right-hand side. If we click edit product, it'll take us right back into our product editor that we were just in. But if we click edit section, then we have lots of different things that we can play with. So again, these are things that, I recommend you go in and check out, and you can play around with them. Again, if you make any changes that you don't like, you can always go up here and discard your changes later. The colors tab will just let you change the background color of this particular product. We'll make this one pink because why not? These colors, by the way, for folks who haven't been with us for the last couple of weeks, are all pre-formatted in our site styles tab that we can get to by clicking on this little paintbrush. We have some information on site styles up here under the basics, and under styling has a little more information on how to set up your site styles. But for editing how your product looks, you can start up here. So this is the simple layout, but it also has different layouts that will change as you click on them. So this is called the wrap. So this just wraps all of your photos. So most of these layouts are related to how your images are laid out. So that's the wrap. The full just means that your photos go all the way across and all of your information is underneath. The half just means that your photo takes up half of it, your information takes up half of it. And then if you are on simple, that is where you get all of these different little things you can play around with. And your photos are right here. The additional photos are next to it. And then you can, again, play with the aspect ratio or the format of the photos. Maybe we want them to be square. You can say how much room this photo actually takes up. Maybe we don't want it to take up half. Maybe we only want it to take up 40% of our screen. It can be a slideshow. It can be a carousel that people can just click through if they want to. So there's just a lot of different options. Again, clicking edit section, not edit product, that you can play around with to change how the product looks when people actually land on the product page. So let's say we like all of these, so we will save them. And you will notice that when you edit things like that, it edits all of your products. So not just one, so it's not just that the seasonal party planning one looks like that. It will update all of your products to look the same. So Squarespace does that mostly to keep it easy. If you like the way that something is laid out, it goes ahead and applies it to the rest of your products. The only way to change that, if you only want one of your products to look this way, but you want the rest of them to have the layout we had before, that can be done, but it requires coding. Okay, well, we'll go back to our store. See? Nice and pink. Okay, so that wraps up. We talked about creating our store page, starting with a template, adding one to an existing website, and formatting our store page just by going to the edit in the upper left-hand corner up here. And then we just went through all of our products, the different product types. Again, all of these are linked. So if you want to learn more about these individual products, what you can and can't do when you upload them, all of the various options you have for these, you can click on here, and it has step-by-step for how to upload them, for how to format them, all that good stuff. We have the product editor. Again, all of these are linked so that we can go into more details about everything that I just walked you through there. If you have an online store already on Etsy, Shopify, or Big Cartel, Squarespace makes it really, really easy for you to import your products so you don't have to add them manually. But you can also upload like a full list, a full CSV of your products as well. So there are a couple of ways that they make it easy if you've already been in the product or e-commerce game. And then product settings, so that's the saving, duplicating, deleting. And then we talked about the styling, which for whatever reason I did not add here. Apologies for that. I will do that after class. But how you can style each individual product, and keeping in mind that changing one product will change the way all of the other products look as well. The same goes for stores. Just as a side note, if you do have more than one store, in your Squarespace website, if we went to edit and we edited our store settings or formatting settings, I wanted these to be 3:2 again, a little wider. Let's do them vertical. I like vertical photos. And I wanted the column spacing to be, say, 2. I'll make this one 3. So this is not just changing these settings on this store page, it's also changing the settings on the other store page as well. Let's say I want the color to go back to this one. Is that what I have it on? You guys remember? Yep, sure is. Cool. So if I say that, I love it, let's do it. Then this light background with these long photos, if we went to the new store, you'll be able to see that it looks exactly the same. The light background, the long photos. So again, just keeping in mind that a lot of these settings, if you change them in one store, it will change in the other store. And if you change them in one product, it will change the other products. Most of the time, it's incredibly helpful, although I understand how occasionally it can be frustrating. Okay. So now for the last part of class, we are going to dive into Squarespace Commerce Tools. So we are going to spend pretty much the rest of class in the Commerce tab that I pointed out a little earlier, walking you through all of the backend tools that Squarespace has built in. So we've spent this first part of class talking about adding store pages, actually adding your products, so getting everything onto your website and live. And this part is a little more of the behind the scenes action. So where your inventory, where you can find a list of inventory, where you can see your orders, what's in progress, who's ordered what, how you can set up the emails that your clients get when they order something. You know, what does that first email say? Or what does a, hey, your card was declined email say, or things like that. So that's what we're going to be walking through. This right here, all Squarespace Commerce Guides. This links to, oh, I didn't have that one open in a new tab either. What the heck? Okay, well, I'll fix that. But this button will eventually lead you to all of the Squarespace Commerce Guides. So they have a whole list that answers dozens and dozens of questions. So you'll be able to go to that to get the lowdown. But we will go ahead and we are inside our store. I just went back to our Pages tab. I'm going to take us all the way back to our home menu. And this Commerce tab is where you're going to spend a lot of your behind the scenes time. So we are going to click on that and get started. So first of all, when you are setting up your store, Squarespace has a really great way of walking you through all of the actual things you need before you can actually publish your store. So they will have that up here until you check off all of these boxes. But we are going to talk about all of these items over here. So the basics right here, you've got orders, inventory, customers, and discounts. I have a gym that I work with here in town, Strength Ratio. It's an awesome gym. I love them. They have been kind enough to allow me to show you their back end because, of course, I do not have, this store is not actually live. We're not actually selling anything. So I want you to kind of see how it looks when you're actually selling items. So this right here, their orders, if we click on that, this is going to show you all of the orders, who it went to, how to contact them, whether they're pending, whether they've been fulfilled. So you can filter them by pending, fulfilled, or canceled orders, shipping or pickup, because Squarespace has a pickup option. You can download a CSV, which is just basically a spreadsheet if you need all of this information for something else, things like that. So this is where you can keep track of all of your orders. Inventory goes through all of your products. So you can search them again, physical services, digital downloads, or gift cards. You can search by products. So if you want to see how many Strength Ratio Badge T pre-orders you have, if you want to see how many Superset Tank pre-orders they have, they just launched a whole round of pre-orders because they're launching a new line of clothing. but you can just search by name. You can search them by categories and tags if you have added them. And then you also have the option to, again, export this information for your records, import new products if you have, again, products from Etsy, Big Cartel, Shopify, or if you want to add a new product to your list, you can do that here as well. Customers, this just tracks who has bought what, how much they have purchased, all of that good stuff. It has all of their information on here, what they've spent. So this is more for your records or whatever you need them for. You can filter these as well. You can filter by how much they've spent. This is actually, or this information can actually also be reached by going to profiles right down here. But you can also, of course, get to them by going through the Commerce tab and clicking on customers. But going to profiles opens up the exact same information. So that's customers. And then discounts. If discounts are something that you want to offer, this is where you can create codes. So if you want to have a holiday sale, or if you want to do something like that, then you can hop in here and, use the code holiday10 for 10% off of this through December or something like that. Whenever you add a discount, you'll just click this little plus button up here, and then it'll let you name it. Will allow you to set whatever you want, and will allow you to limit total uses. You can see if you ever see this symbol, it means that you need an advanced commerce plan to use those particular features. So those are your basics right up there. So orders, inventory, customers, again, you can get there from the profile tab, and discounts. You can learn more about all of those and everything that you can find and use by clicking on these links. The next round are your selling tools. So I have put a star kind of throughout here on the ones that I think you'll end up using the most. So we're definitely going to talk about that one, but just wanted you to know what the stars meant. So selling tools, Facebook and Instagram, as they have, or Squarespace has told us, is new. So they have this new integration where you can allow customers to purchase directly through the posts. I'm not sure if you've been on Facebook or you've been on Instagram, but on Instagram, you see like the little shopping bag and the little price comes up and you can tap on it and buy it right then and there. So Squarespace has introduced an integration where you can connect that as well. Point of sale, this is for folks who sell in person as well as online. And so this can be for folks, I've worked with several artists who sell prints online, but then they go to markets or they show up at craft fairs or things like that. And so point of sale is just a way for them to also integrate essentially the Square reader. If you've ever swiped your card through one of those little things that people plug into their phones, that is called point of sale. So Squarespace allows you to connect that to your online store as well, so that all of your inventory is seamlessly tracked, whether people are buying online or whether they're buying from you in person. Print on demand is actually a service in and of itself. This applies again to folks who may have art and maybe they sell prints online. So this is something you can connect where someone orders a print, and instead of it telling you and then you having to tell a third party or you having to go and actually print something out yourself, they'll buy it, it'll get sent straight to print on demand, they'll print it and they'll send it for you. So again, a lot of these selling tools are just ways that Squarespace is really trying to make things easy for you as a business owner selling products or selling services. They just want to make it really, really easy for you, which I love. So product status, this is one where you can change the text for when things are sold out or out of stock. When something sells out, it doesn't just vanish from your website. It'll be on there, but it'll say sold out. Or it'll say whatever you want to type into here. So you might use that instead of saying sold out, you can say something else, whatever you want to say. But you also have this option with certain commerce plans to use limited availability. So this is when a product gets down to, and you can set this if you would like. I don't know if it'll let me turn this on. Oh, it will. So you can say only 5 of these left, and you can have it display when there are only 5 items left. So this can just be really helpful, again, for people who are visiting your site, or if there's something that you kind of want to create that demand for, like, hey, we've only got a few of these, you know, get them while you can. That can be a pretty neat thing to turn on for that as well. So that is under product status. I'll pull a little star by it. Wait lists. This tool right here is something that you would actually enable in settings. But this is for, well, as the name suggests, waitlist. So if you've sold out of something, but you still want to be able to have people send in like a, hey, I want it though, whenever you guys get it back in stock or something like that, that's when you would be able to use waitlists. So you'd be able to have people sign up. So that way, you know, whenever you relaunch or you have more of whatever product it is that people are waiting for, you already have a list of people who are signed up, who have paid for it, and you can just start sending it out. A lot of commerce tools in here relate to physical products. For folks who are selling digital products or service products, there's a lot of these that you really won't need to use. So a lot of these are still going to be really helpful, but if they don't apply to you, it's totally fine. Or if you're like, when would I use that? It might just be because you're not selling physical products and it wouldn't make any sense. So these related products, this is what we talked about earlier, where if we wanted to turn that on, you can change that section title you might also like, or you can change it to, you know, if you like this product, you should try blah, blah, blah. And then you can set the product sorting to random. Like I said, Squarespace will pull from categories and tags, or you can do recently added or the highest quantity. So if you're trying to actually move some product or something, then Squarespace will sort by that as well. And then product reviews. So this is new, but this is where you can turn this on to automatically request reviews. After people purchase your products, you can have an email that automatically goes out to them and says, hey, will you write a review for this product? And it will allow you to, or it will allow them to go ahead and leave one that you then get to moderate, but then gets posted to your product page. If you, again, have an Etsy store already and you're importing products and you want to import those excellent reviews that you have, you can do that as well just by clicking on that. All right, so those are your selling tools. Find out all the good information about all of those just by clicking here. The next one are notifications. And despite the fact that there are only 2 options, this is actually a pretty beefy section. So customer notifications are the emails that people get when you order or when someone orders something from your store. So of course, you don't want to have to sit down and manually email every single person who emails something through your website, or maybe you do. Kudos to you. But if you don't, then this is where you can set up those automatic emails. So it gives you the option for global email styles. So it kind of shows you how it's going to look. This is what they're going to link your website up at the top. This is what where the title is going to be and how it's going to show up, the content, your product name. So this is just basically how it's going to look. You can edit it by clicking on edit email. Ta-da. So this is where you can change the colors. This is where you can change the fonts, link colors, this primary text color. As you change things on here, you'll see them change over here in the preview. I'm not going to mess with this because, again, this is, well, actually, this is ours. We're not in strength ratio anymore, but it wouldn't do me any good to mess with it anyway. But this is where you can change that. So you can change the colors, change the fonts, and this will apply to all of the emails that get sent out, regardless of what kind of emails they are. And speaking of kinds of emails, these are the different kinds of emails that get sent. So your general orders is where you're going to find a lot of these options. So order confirmed, if someone orders something from you, they get this automatic email. So this is where hey, you ordered something from our site. We see that, especially if it's a product that has to be shipped. As you know, if you've ordered something online, it's always nice when they're like, hey, we see that you placed this order. we'll follow up with shipping information, or we'll follow up when it's ready, etc. So order confirmed, order fulfilled. Again, this is for physical items for the most part. Ready for pickup, again, for physical items or for physical products. Order refunded. So if someone needs a refund at some point down the line, you can change what that says and how it looks. And then digital downloads. So this is if you are selling something digitally, a PDF, an audio file, etc., then the email they get from you is what is going to contain their product. So it sends a download link for all digital product orders, but you can also, of course, change what that says and how that looks as well. The same goes down here for your donation receipts, if a payment was declined, and if a product was not available or you have to cancel an order for another reason, then you can change what that says and looks like as well. So again, all of this is found under customer notifications in your commerce tab. So there's a lot to it, but most of them you'll find in general orders, but then they also have them for the point of sale if you're selling in person. Customer engagement is if you have your abandoned cart turned on. If you've ever done that, you've gone shopping and they're like, hey, you didn't finish shopping. You can set up what that looks like as well, along with the wait list if you end up turning that on, and your product review request that we had just mentioned, and if you turn your reviews on. And for all of these, it's going to have this edit email button in the upper right-hand corner. So that's how you can change what they say, how they look, et cetera, except for these global email styles, which mostly deal with the fonts and the colors. We got the same for customer accounts. So if you have customers that you think are going to be repeat customers, you have the option to turn on customer accounts, which we're about to get to. So all of the emails that go along with that, so that way they can just log in and see their orders that they've had already, or see what status their order is it pending, is it been, all that good stuff. So that's customer accounts. Then you've got them for gift cards, subscription orders, and then the member areas, which, yes, please remind me to show you where member areas are. So all of those emails can be customized in customer notifications. So that's something that tends to be helpful to do before you're fully finished setting up your site. All of these are very professional. So if you forget to set these up, it's going to send them anyway. They're going to be very professional. They're going to have everything linked that needs to be linked. So you don't actually have to change any of these. But if you would like that for them to have a more personal touch or something like that, then this is where you would come and make those changes. The other option under notifications is low stock alerts, and that is actually a notification for you, not for your customers. So you can have this turned on, so that way if you have a lot of inventory, you get a notification when you've only got 5 of any certain item left. So that's just a way for you to be kept up to date with, like, oh wow, okay, we're selling out of that, we need to make more of these or order more of that, or I need to upload more slots for my consultations, things like that. So low stock alerts are for you, not for your clients. And then lastly, this last section is the setup section. So payments gets 3 stars because it's very important when setting up an online store that people can pay you. Checkout, another thing that's very customizable. It's kind of similar to the customer notifications, where we'll go into that menu, which will take you to another menu, which will take you to another menu. So lots of customization options for the checkout process as well. The customer accounts, where if people are returning customers, they can come in, and then you've got shipping, pickup, and then also where you can get your taxing information and accounting information, or link up ways to keep track of your taxes. I hate taxes. Does anyone like taxes? I don't think so. So payments, the 3-star option. So Squarespace allows you to connect 3 different kinds of payment processors: Stripe, PayPal, and Square. So Square is the point of sale. So this is if you're selling in person as well. So if you're not selling in person, it's likely that you won't need that, but it's also possible that you might already have a store set up on Square, so you can connect it here as well. Stripe and PayPal are the two main payment processors. You have to have a PayPal business account, but then once that's set up, you can connect it. All you have to do when you connect to these is just log in. So you'll have to set up a Stripe account and or a PayPal account first, and then you can connect it just by clicking on this and logging in. You can have one or the other, you can have both. Stripe is what allows people to pay with all of the major credit cards, Apple Pay and Afterpay. So if you want people to be able to do that, I don't know if you've all seen Afterpay, but basically where people can pay in installments. You get paid right away, but then Afterpay is kind of what takes care of their monthly payments until they can pay off whatever it is they purchased from you. So Stripe is really, really helpful. It's you more often than not want people to be able to pay with credit cards. That's how people are really used to paying online, but you are also totally fine with just a PayPal account. It's just sometimes when people come to buy products, not everyone has a PayPal account. So that's the only thing that you run into with hangups by only having your PayPal account connected. But hey, something's better than nothing. So all you have to do is sign up for these again beforehand, and then you would just come in here to connect them. This is also where you can set up your store currency. I think everyone in this class is on the US dollars, but there are also other currencies that you can set up, lots and lots of them if you need to. So if you want to display your store currency, if someone sees a price and you want to display it in pounds or euros, you can do that just by setting it up down here. Squarespace will not, of course, allow you to publish or go live with your online store until you set up a way to get paid. So until you come down here, click on payments and actually connect something, you can have your store up, you can have it on your website, people can get to it, but they will not be able to purchase anything. They will not be able to go through the checkout process, and kind of defeats the purpose. So there is right here, if you click on this, will take you to a Squarespace support article that also has links for each of those different options. So you can, if you want to do a little more in-depth study on whether you want to do Stripe or PayPal or both or just one, so you can do a little more digging. So that is payments. Checkout is where you can set up the whole checkout process. So this is where you can turn on those abandoned cart recovery emails, the ones that we just saw in our email notifications. If you want people to get an email when they add something to their cart but then never check out. So you can turn those on here. Collecting email subscribers. So if email marketing is something that you want to get into, then Squarespace, if you check this box, will add a little place in the checkout process for people to say, yes, I want to, like, they always have to enter their email. So there's a little box where they're like, yes, I would love to sign up for this particular vendor's emails. I want them to bless my inbox. So you can turn that on or off. The email sign up settings. So this is where, if you actually do the email, email marketing, I blanked for a second. So this is where if you have MailChimp or something like that, you can connect it. But if you don't have MailChimp and you're going to use Squarespace's email marketing, then it will store them there automatically. But if you have MailChimp, this is where you can connect that, and you can change what it says whenever people are prompted to sign up for your newsletters. Okay. This is, again, a lot of this stuff is fairly self-explanatory, so I won't read it for you. But using shipping and billing, if there needs to be a minimum order, express checkout is if you feel like people are really only going to come on there and buy one thing. If there are multiple things people can buy, especially if you have products, then I would not check this. But if you check it, then basically what it will do is as soon as someone, instead of saying add to cart, it will just say go to checkout essentially. So that button will change from adding items to a cart to taking people directly to the checkout process. I've used this once before with a client who sold trips. So he was like a guide for international hiking trips in Iceland. How cool is that, right? And but like people are not going to buy more than one $8,000 trip, like, you know, so we just want them to go straight to the checkout process. We don't need them to add it to their cart. They're just going to say, yes, I want to do this. They're going to go there and they're going to put in their payment information and be done with it. So that's when that's helpful. But a lot of the big ones are going to be down here. So additional fields, if we click on that, this is where you can create a custom checkout form. So by going to the checkout tab and then going to all the way to the bottom to additional fields, and then going all the way to the bottom to enable custom checkout form. So this is where, kind of like we did within our products, where if you have certain things you want people to fill out as they're purchasing a product, this is something where you can have people fill this out as they're checking out. So if you want or need additional information from them, or if you have a space where like, is this a gift, or do you want this to be customized in any way, or whatever else that could be helpful for. So this is where you could put that through the checkout process. So let's say you have like something that I purchased, stockings for Christmas for my dogs. So I purchased those. And when I went through the checkout process, that's the only thing that this particular vendor sold. So when I bought it through the checkout process, it said, all right, like list your dog's name and, you know, check a box for whether you want the green stocking or the red stocking and things like that. So this is where you can input that. So if it's something that would kind of apply to all of your products, you can add it to the checkout form. But if it's something that's very product specific, then you saw where you have that option to add a custom form to individual products as well. So again, that's under the checkout tab, all the way at the bottom, additional fields. Store policies, this is where you can list things like return policies, terms of service, your privacy policy. So you can just copy and paste into here. If you don't know what those should be, Google does a pretty good job. Basic return policies, basic terms of service. I would probably recommend that you customize your return policy a little bit, especially if you've got physical products. But it's always good to have these in here. And then once you add them in here and you save them, then links to them will be shown during the review and purchase section of the checkout, which is always the last section that people get to during the checkout process in Squarespace. And then down here, the last thing you have the option to do are invoices. So you can change basically how it looks as they're checking out. Do you want to show the pre-tax price, tax for each item? So this is basically just it's more specific for certain countries, certain areas want to know these things. So if you're going to be shipping internationally, then there's some things you should look into, but for the most part, you don't have to worry about those. All right. So, oh, also right here, this is a good one. So the continue shopping link, this is where you can send people to a specific page. So right now, if people click continue shopping, it's actually going to take them to the home page of my website, but I would want to take them to the store page of the website. Or if I wanted to take them to a different store or wherever you want to take them, then you can just click new store. I want them to go to that one. I'm going to click save. Yay, everybody. So again, all of that stuff can be found under checkout or the different checkout options. But one of the more important things in that is if you want to have a form on there and then just determining whether you want people to go directly to checkout, to be able to go back to their cart, things like that. So you can kind of play around in that tab too. Customer accounts, this is just where you would be able to toggle this on if you were signed up for a commerce plan. So again, if you think you're going to have a lot of repeat customers, or if you think it would be helpful for your customers to be able to log into something, review their previous orders, this is something that would be worth doing, because then it will prompt them as they check out for the very first time to set up an account. Like, hey, put in your email and create a password, things like that. Or it'll allow them to quote unquote check out as a guest, which I think you've seen before as well. So that'll be up to the discretion of your customers, but could be nice to have the option, especially if you want or anticipate people coming back for more, which of course they will, because everything you're selling is fabulous. Okay, next we have shipping. So shipping options. This is where you would set up your shipping options, or if you are doing a pickup option, you can do that down here as well. So shipping options, if you click on that, you can do flat rates depending on weight. And then of course you can do them with FedEx, UPS, or USPS. So depending on weight, flat rate is typically the easiest, but to set up, again, this only applies to physical products. So if you're selling digital products or services, you don't have to worry about this. But if you are going to be selling physical products, flat rate is the easiest. You can name an option. You can set up your shipping zones. There is so much information on this one little link right here. I should probably put some stars by that too, because there's a lot of nuances to shipping based on where you're shipping to. Different states have different rules, some things like that. So shipping requires a little bit of research, not intimidating. Lots and lots of people figure it out on the daily. Lots and lots of people have questions on the daily. So Squarespace has done their best to answer a lot of those. I'll just go ahead and click on this. So this is kind of their basics. So you can, how to choose the right shipping options, how to set up your shipping rates, information on each individual kind of shipping, how to set up free shipping. So they have articles on all of these. There is so much information in the forum as well, because I can guarantee you if you have a question or a concern about shipping, how to set it up, or which one you should do, someone has asked it before you as well. So you can gather knowledge from everything they've done. The Squarespace forum is an excellent resource. And you can also find a lot of these. This, of course, is going to be very commerce specific. But up here, if you haven't joined us for the last few weeks, this Keep Learning tab also has a lot of really great links to the Squarespace Help Center, more webinars you can sign up for. They also have a Squarespace Commerce webinar and a video series for it as well, if you want to dive deeper into commerce on Squarespace. And then they also have an excellent learning community. So this is where you can also dive into the webinars that they have, the forum. This is where everybody talks about everything when it comes to Squarespace, and you can search based on questions or different things like that. And then they also have extra guides and videos for a lot of things. So the Keep Learning tab on this website is also going to be a really good resource for you. We will go back to our store as we wrap up the commerce tab. We're in our little setup because we are down here at the very bottom. So we are in the setup section. We just talked about payment processors, the checkout, setting up customer accounts, and then dipping our toes in the water of shipping options. And there's like, so if you wanted to do FedEx, so you can, there's so many things, you guys. So again, this link will be the beginning of being able to dive into a lot of this stuff. So as you're sifting through shipping options, I recommend reading that first article that you see when we click on here, choosing the right shipping options, because they'll walk you through a lot of the nuances of that as well. Underneath that is pickup, which is where if you're having people come by your store or come by wherever you're working out of, you can customize how your customers will come and pick up their orders, setting a time or setting up a system for that. So that's where you will do that. Taxes down here. This is a premium feature. So you have to, again, well, let's go over to strength ratio again. They've been very generous. So their taxes, so they are connected to TaxJar. TaxJar is an awesome extension that integrates seamlessly with Squarespace that pretty much everyone that I've worked with who has an online Squarespace store uses, because it automatically calculates tax. And so you don't actually have to do all of that digging into, well, what is the rule for this state? What is the rule if I'm shipping to Arkansas? What does Arkansas need the tax to be? And do I need to charge North Carolina tax and Arkansas tax? You don't have to think about it. You can just connect TaxJar. So that is a third-party extension that kind of similar to Stripe or PayPal you would sign up for outside of Squarespace, but then be able to seamlessly connect to Squarespace right here. Oh, my puppy is in here. Okay, so that is taxes, and then accounting is super easy. So this is just where you can download reports for all of your sales. So you can download them for the last week, the last month, 90 days, the year to date. You can set a custom range. So this is going to be really helpful for an accountant if you have one, or for you, or if you are working with AB Tech, to take into their financial specialists, because that's what I did the first time I had to do taxes when I started working for myself, was download my accounting report for the services that I'd sold and what people had paid me, and took it into one of their delightful business mentors and had them explain it to me. But a very easy way for you to be able to keep track of all this good stuff, or sales-wise at least. Okay, so those are all of your Squarespace commerce tools, and those are all found under the Commerce tab in your home menu. So when you're making actual changes to your store or to your products, you are going to do that through Pages in whatever your store page is called, wherever you've got your little cart. And then all of the behind the scenes, back end, customer emails, toggling this on or off, taxes, shipping stuff is all going to take place here in Commerce. And it's also where you can track the very basics like orders, inventory, and your customers. So again, on our commerce/the shop page that I have on this website, all of these are explained in detail and linked to their own personal Squarespace support articles. A lot of them have videos, all of them have step-by-step information on setting things up, on what certain things mean. So if you're in there and you're confused as to whether or not you need something, Squarespace has a lot of really helpful support articles, and you can just Google it, or you can come here and use this website and just click on these links and it'll take you straight to the information that you're looking for. And that is here under Squarespace Commerce Tools. But of course, as you saw, as we went through this whole lesson, it's kind of all over the place here as well. So any extra information you need or want on anything that we've done, we've got in here. Of course, you can ask me questions. We are going to go over just a few of tips and practices, or commerce tips and practices. But if you have any questions, or if anything's coming to mind right now, feel free to drop it in the chat and we can kind of start our Q&A as we go. Before diving into that, I do really quick just want to show you where you can set up your member areas. So if you want to do like a members only thing, you're going to get a Squarespace website. You can also search, if we go to squarespace.com and we go to get started up here in the corner, if you don't already have a Squarespace website, you can go there, and then you can actually search their templates by membership templates as well. So you can click on that, and then all of these website templates that they have already up here already have member areas connected and have really good layouts for how that can look. So if you haven't started all of that, then that's where you can start with a lot of things already built in for you. Yes, the recording of this will be available to view. Dwayne will send it out after class. Okay, so if you don't start with a template that has memberships built in, you can also go down here to settings, go right here to member areas right up here at the top once you go into the settings tab, and then you would just turn these on, and then you can create your member area. This is where you can manage all of your members. So this is a whole other realm of different things that you can take care of when it comes to memberships. Maybe that's something I can run by Dwayne. Maybe we can have a Squarespace memberships class, or we can go through all of that as well. You are welcome. Okay, so yes, so you'll find that in settings, member areas, you'll toggle that on like we just did. But if you start with one of those templates that we were just looking at that has memberships already built in, that will already be toggled on for you. And the only difference with that is I think I toggled it on and left it on. Yep. So once you toggle it on, then it will add an extra little tab in here for you to create your member areas. So you'll be able to access the actual member areas through your pages tab. You just have to turn them on first. Okay. But going back to our best tips and practices, so staying organized, again, over the last few weeks, you guys know me by now, organization is my jam. So I really like how Squarespace has a lot of that stuff built in, using those categories and tags to make things easy to search, to make them easy to search for your customers who are landing on your site, but also making it easy for you to search through your own products. Again, down here where Squarespace recommends just having one store page. And again, to make things easier to track, but also because you really can utilize those categories to split up all of your stuff however you need. Then keeping a theme to your product photos. This is something that I have heard from very delightful branding professionals who have, let's see, where's our store? Here it is. So keeping a similar theme. So this was in particular for someone who was selling some jewelry. So in some of these photos, the jewelry was on a person, and some of them, the jewelry was just like sitting on a table, and some of them, the jewelry was elsewhere. So she recommended, you know, for all of your necklaces, maybe have like the first photo be of someone wearing them. Or so I think that's kind of a personal aesthetic choice, but I do like when things look cohesive when people land there. If you've ever found like an Instagram feed or something where everything just looks really cohesive and it just makes you happy on the inside, or maybe I'm a complete nerd and that's just me. But the more cohesiveness you can put into your store, mostly the easier it is for people to recognize you when they actually land on your page. So again, making a note here, if you're going to use stock photos, for especially if you have services or if you're selling a digital product, pictures of digital products aren't always the most fun because maybe it's a PDF, or maybe it's a book, or maybe it's an audio file. How do you have a picture for an audio file? So you can definitely use stock photos. But again, Squarespace won't let you access them like they usually do when you're actually in the product editor. So going somewhere like unsplash.com or Pexels, P-E-X-E-L-S, Pexels.com. They have some really great stock photo options that are not cheesy, but are also free. So when stock photos are lovely and free, I'm a big fan. You can always pay for stock photos. Getty is probably the #1 site where you can do that, but not necessary. So find your stock photos and save them, and then add them to your products. Tracking your sales analytics. So in our little home menu here, we spent our time in Pages actually editing our store and our products. We spent a lot of time in our Commerce tab, going through all of the behind the scenes work that goes into running an online store or dealing with e-commerce. Excuse me. And now we also have this little analytics tab. And for that, I'm going to go back to our lovely folks at Strength Ratio. And down here on their analytics, and my analytics, you won't see anything because, you know, it's not a live website and I'm not selling anything. But here, so for Strength Ratio, their analytics, one of the first things at the very top is sales. So this tells you revenue, units sold, number of orders. It gives you all of those nitty gritty details that make my nerdy brain really, really happy. And it tells you on what days and how many people bought things on these days. And so digging in to these numbers, which you can just scroll through for ages. But sales by product, so you can see what's the most popular. Like, oh, this crop tee that they just created has been ordered a bunch of times in the last 30 days. You can change the date range here. what's been the most popular this past month, what's the most popular from January to now. You can set a custom range. So this is really helpful because it keeps track for you. So you don't have to keep track of like, have I sold more shirts than I have sold pants? Have I sold more of these prints or have I sold more of these prints? Or which, downloadable meditation that I've put on there is, been purchased the most. And that can really help you moving forward when it comes to creating new products or what product do you want to make more of, because maybe it'll surprise you what your most popular product has been. And that can kind of help guide you as you move forward with all of the different things that you're creating out there in the world. Purchase funnel, this just kind of tells you how, like, when did people buy things? Where did they come from? Was it from visiting the website? Like how many people viewed the website versus viewed a product versus started at checkout versus purchase. And you can see that funnel goes down, which is totally normal, guys. But you can kind of keep track of that. And then you also have your basics that are not strictly sales related, but tell you your traffic, where is it coming from? Are people finding you on their mobile devices or their desktop? Geography, it tells you where most of these people are finding your website. United States, naturally, because they're a gym in North Carolina. So of course, North Carolina is very popular and Asheville is the most popular, but people in Mars Hill are visiting the website, people in Weaverville and all that good stuff. So it's just really helpful to know these things sometimes. So that way, maybe where your target audience is actually located. You don't actually have to guess, the data is there. So your analytics can be really helpful, but using sales by product, purchase funnel, things like that, that's all going to be helpful for you down the line and just kind of figuring out what's popular and what you should be making more of. And then, of course, Squarespace also has a list of tips. And these don't necessarily cover like, this is what you should do when setting up your store, but it just gives you how to do a pre-order, like Strength Ratio is doing. This is the first time they did that and it's going pretty well. So that's exciting. How to create a product drop, and then just information on Etsy, how customers buy your products, how to sell workshops if you want to start selling workshops or run a workshop or something like that. So they just have some good information here as well. This page right here is the one that I meant to link in that button. I'll just do that right now for you guys. Got about 5 minutes left. So if you've got more questions, send them my way. So that page, there we go, is scrolling down. Okay, so all Squarespace commerce guides. I'm going to double click on that, actually drop in the link. It looks like I never did that. I'm going to have it open in a new window. So that way you don't lose this website while you're looking at that. I'm going to go up here and save. So now you'll actually be able to visit the website, which I will drop in the chat here in a minute. A recommended image size for store photos and a recommended number of photos per item to allow product pages to still load quickly. That is a great question. So recommended image size and recommended number of photos. So no recommended number of photos as long as your photos are 500 kilobytes or less. And I have, right here. So it's right here under best practices, I think. Best practices and deep breaths. This is just another page on the website if you haven't been in our classes for the last couple weeks, where some best practices for your website in general. Yes, right here. So 500 kilobytes or less. This tool right here I use almost daily for all of my websites. So it's called bulk resize. So you can upload images here. Let's see. Ooh, these are pretty. So let's say I have these 3 photos. They're way too big. They're way more than 500 kilobytes. So I want to open those, and then I go here to file size, and then I size it to 500. I will make this work. Haha. And then you click start, and then it resizes all of them, but without actually downgrading the quality. So these were already resized. So it'll tell you what it was before and what it was after. So if we click on that, ooh, sorry, it paused because it went out of the little browser. But anyway, it'll download as a zip drive, and then you can open it and upload the sized photos instead. You are welcome. Okay. So yeah, you can find that on the best practices page. I have it linked there, but it's also, I think, just bulkresizePhotos.com/en, I think. Oh, I was going to drop things in the chat. That's what I was going to do. Okay. So this is the, well, I'll just copy and paste so that I don't get it wrong. Okay. So I am going to drop the link to this website that I've built for these lessons in the chat. This website will be up pretty much indefinitely, or at least for the time being. So that is the link, and the password is community rocks, because this Asheville community is the best. So whenever you log on for the first time, at the very least, it will prompt you to enter a password. You will just put this in, and then you'll be able to access this website. It shouldn't ask you to do it again. But again, if it does, Dwayne is also sending this information out in the follow-up email as well. All right, well, I am going to cut off my screen sharing. All right. All right, are there any final questions before we wrap up our class? It is almost 7 o'clock exactly. Way to go, us, for this timing. As Dwayne mentioned, yes, so much information. You're very right. Again, go back to this website, browse all those little links, take your time, go to the best practices page, take some deep breaths, because it is a lot of information, but you learn it a lot faster than you think. And it's, you're very welcome. You learned a lot faster than you think. And Squarespace, again, one of the reasons I love it is it's really intuitive. So they really try and make things easy. And when things aren't super easy, or when they are multiple levels of complexity, they have excellent support articles and great video tutorials and all that good stuff as well. But as Dwayne said, we might have more Squarespace goodness coming up later in the year. Maybe we'll do a membership class on how to set up Squarespace memberships. Squarespace also does email marketing, all kinds of good stuff. So we'll keep working with the, yes, yay. We will keep working, or I will keep collaborating with the AB Tech Small Business Center. I love them so much. They helped me get started back in the day. And so anything working with them is just excellent. So definitely keep up with the AB Tech Small Business Center. Keep your eye out for more Squarespace email marketing. Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to Dwayne about that. Let's see what we can get on the calendar. So we'll keep working together. There will be more Squarespace classes in the future, hopefully on those couple of topics, but we'll probably end up doing this series again, from like the Squarespace 101 to blogging to e-commerce. Again next year. So if you want to sign up for some of those classes, just keep your eyes out at the beginning of next year. Also on the website that I just sent you, on the Keep Learning page and in the footer of that website, are ways to get in touch with me. So if you ever wanted to sign up for a Squarespace lesson, or any other kind of Squarespace help you might need, feel free to go back to that website, or just go to heartandsoulco.com. I will also drop that in the chat. Oh, that was a direct message. That's my bad. All right, let's copy that and post it. There you go. Okay, there it is. So if you ever need Squarespace help down the line, once you get your store up and running, or if you just need a more personal one-on-one walkthrough with a Squarespace lesson, you can always reach out to me. But in the meantime, thank you so much, everyone, for coming and for giving me a couple hours of your time tonight. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your evening and a lot of fun diving into all of the goodies that come along with building your own website. It's overwhelming sometimes, but it's a lot of fun and it's very gratifying. All right, keep an eye out for an email from Dwayne. It'll have the video, the website link, and all that good stuff. But otherwise, I hope you all have a good evening, and I will hopefully see some of you all in person or in another class soon. You're very welcome. Good night, everyone.